Okay, guys, I get this question from my friend, from my Czech friend, actually, to explain her the nature of the reality. I was trying to do it in Czech, but I ended up at the end talking in English anyway. So I decided to do it in English, and I will probably try to translate it to Czech. Because for me, it's way easier to explain it in English than to trying to explain those words and to translate the words in Czech. So this is the construct we are in at the moment. We are actually in here. We are actually in realm 1. And this one was created by a being that exists outside of the construct. That's here. I will give him the number 13 because it's a significant number. He created this realm, which we are playing in. He opened up this call and he invited anyone who would like to come and participate in this realm, in the whole 12 dimensional realm. And here you can see like a 12 is always have been a very significant number. Who answered that call? There were 12 beings that answered this call. So, and again, this is another, 12 is a significant number. We have 12 chakras. We have 12 zodiac signs. We have 12 kind of a dimensions that you can access to practically. And if you have a look on it, this is the spiral kind of. I saw this diagram somewhere, but I can't find it. I was looking on the history if I can find this, because I saw it carved and there was this line, practically like an entry point. And source is probably gonna be in here. All right. So the source got bored and decided to starting to create. Okay, so he created some beings. He created extraterrestrials. I think he first created the angels, like the angelic realm would probably exist in here. There is gonna be angels because they are higher dimensional beings. There will be ascended masters. Ascended masters are gonna be here too. Here are gonna be all kinds of extraterrestrials are gonna be in these dimensions at the moment. 12 beings answered the call and they joined the game. They came to this construct that was created by this being and started to create all sorts of things. Here, this could be considered as the 5D, like what everyone is talking about. This is the 5D. We can call it a 5D. So the original Earth, or the original construct, was created in here, in the 5th dimension. I can maybe color it in, just that we have it. Now, we are here now. We are now actually in a realm 1. So we are experiencing actually this. Now at the moment we are experiencing a lot of dark stuff, a lot of low vibrational stuff, because we descended. Anyway, so this is the basic of the construct, all right? Now, what happened though? The original Earth was created in here, or the original construct was created in here, with the idea that it's gonna go in here. It is gonna ascend into the 7th dimension, so it's gonna get better and better and better, right? But what happened when this being opened up this realm and those 12 beings came in, they started to create all sorts of things. So the first I think the first civilizations were like Lemurians. Those created other beings in here. You know, human was probably created in here as well. Egypt was created in here. Atlantis, all of that was existing in a fifth dimension. With the fact that we had all interactions with all the other beings, like angels in here. In that time, probably there were no ascended masters. They came later. But all the extraterrestrials, you know, to all the other higher dimensional beings, all right? Now, here we have all the portals and all kind of multidimensional spaces, I would say, you know, to get out and travel. And I would say that from here, we've got an access to here, and I make it as a tube because I traveled with the tube. When I had my out of the body experience, I was going through the tube. So, and I would say that from here you can as well exit the construct completely. And I'm just like guessing, like, you know, kind of like, I'm not saying that I'm guessing, it's like the way I understand it. So then we have, for sure, here we have ITs as well. I would say this part here is going to be Bashar, and who is channeled by Daryl Anka. They are gonna be the nearest to us, these guys. And we have the access to there too, for sure. Not all of us, but like some of us do. So, what's outside of the construct? No, that's hard to say. Okay, so I think here are still some ITs, you know, I would say. Here are still some ITs, and here is gonna be, I would say that here we will have the mothership as well. I don't think that the mothership exists within the construct, but maybe it does, you know, I'm not sure about that. Because what I saw through my out of the body experience, this is what I saw is this big mothership. It's got this open up, and I was picking up these light balls that were going out of here. What happened here, like, it was that when the earth was created, or you know, it's a construct, so we can say that there's no earth, right? So it's a holographic kind of projection. But we can think about it as that we have earth. But I start to believing that we don't. I mean, there is probably no earth. It looks to me that we all are experiencing our own version of this construct, which is all our own version of earth. Because let's say what I am experiencing and what is the world experiencing is very different. For me, it's very different. I'm gonna make this line a little bit thicker so that we know where is the base. Now, what happened here was these beings, or all these beings that joined all the party to participate, because this guy like made a call and say, okay, look, guys, like, who would like to come over and like participate. So all these 12 beings starting to creating here all kind of things. All other beings started to come over, other extraterrestrials, other entities. You know, we've got fairies in here as well. I draw a butterfly. You know, I think ascended masters are actually now here too. Everybody is in the construct playing. Why? Because since this time, a lot of things happened in here when the earth was created with the idea that it's gonna go to 70, but it didn't go to 70. It actually got so bad. It got so bad because of the greed and the gold, and like all the other entities came in and started to mining and creating humans that were like enslaved in this starting to enslaving the humans practically and overpowering this space. We descended from the 5D to the 3D. And what happened here as that the human, what was created originally in here, had to degrade to actually be able to exist in here. And because these beings, that all kind of beings that came over to participate in this game, what they did, because they knew how to create certain things in here, what they started to do, they started to create a reality within reality. They started to create a little other little games which were existing in these type of spaces, all over the places. So the people who were actually in here, who descended, could join the game and started to participate and started to create in here and started to play in these realms, in realm within the realm, or a reality within the reality. So what happened in here was this place got so bad and got so infected, we got locked down in here completely, without being able to get out. So we got lost. Not lost, but a lot of people got lost in here. And why? Because what started to happen was some of the beings started to starting to taking a power away from the other beings, from the humans especially, and they started to enslaving them, that they were using their life force to power the game and to harvest on them. All right. So the game is powered by us, practically, by all of us. Oh yeah, they started to create here all kind of games, like money, healthcare, housing system, all of this stuff. It's created it here for us to get trapped, practically. These cookies, This realm is it's a very difficult realm to be in because it's full of pleasures. So there is a food, alcohol addictions, drugs, you name it, gaming, whatever. It's just and based on that, these beings were feeding of our of this distortion of this of us, because we practically were completely disempowered. What they did, they were trying to keep everyone stuck in here. They didn't want anyone to get out. So what they did, they create this protection in here, and they lock this realm in completely. I'm gonna leave there little gaps, then we still have a space to go. They lock us in, and in order to come in here, the problem was that the humans started to disconnect from their hearts. The mind and the heart started to be disconnected. They started to playing in the realms, in these little games, or in these constructs that they were created for them to play in, by keeping feeding of the energy. Because when the person invested in this realm, or in this construct, usually the mind invested so much that the heart got disconnected. So here we are locked, and we are playing in the 3D, which is here. This is it. And how I got out, because I had out-of-body experience and I landed up here, and I saw that we were picked up, or that the other people were picked up out of this. Because what is happening at the moment right now is that this construct is closing down. I got some message a couple of days ago, and I'm still sitting with it. It was saying the sealing of the entry point. I'm gonna write this down in here. I'm still sitting with this, so that's why I decided to do this video. I already did that for my friend in Czech and broken English, trying to explain her how the reality works. But I decided to do it again. There was created this barrier that nobody could get in. That was before 2012, all right? Nobody could get in without losing the memory. Here we have as well the planets. I don't know where they exist exactly. I will make them in here, right? It's a moon, and there is gonna be a Saturn. Planets are, let's say they are here, right? Before 2012, we were completely locked in, and our memory, when we incarnated in here, our memory got completely wiped out because of this barrier. The problem was that nobody could really enter the game here without completely losing the memory of where they coming from. They had to lower the vibration. They had to incarnate in the families which had a very complicated structure, because they were constantly being recycled in this realm over and over and over and over and over again to power it up. So nobody was getting out. Nobody. We were constantly being recycled in here, in this triangle. Nobody was going into the 5D. You know, nobody. What happened recently is that this being said, enough is enough. This is gonna be closing down because we reached this point. So we are on the bottom, and we are in the last level practically. This is the master class. So this is the master level. We have to defeating the boss. You know, we have to save our mind. That's what we have to do in here. Before 2012, whoever died, what they did, the beings who are like in charge of this construct, and they want to continue to being dark and going like bad and like that. Nobody has it is all like a distortion, extremes, and disempowerment. All right, there's 3D and the first realm. Like all of this is just nasty stuff. You hardly experience something good. People who are let's say rich and having like a figure out the finances, they usually operate in this realm, like a little bit outside of the construct. They still have the situations. Before 2012, what happened was everyone who died, all the people who died, that's why we're seeing as well now such a massive exodus. People are leaving the construct because the construct is outdated, it's done, it's finished. There is nothing else that the source can experience as a new, you know, it's all, they all going out. Before 2012, when the person died, it went to the moon. Here was the facility. He got recycled in here. I'm gonna do, what color I'm gonna do the moon? I'm gonna do it blue. Here, it got recycled completely. So all this bullshit about like, oh, you see the white light. Yeah, you see the moon, and then you get recycled here, and you went back, straight back to the construct to power it back. So that's where the incarnation is coming. We're not gonna be incarnating anymore because this does not exist anymore. This does not exist. This barrier is gone by now. So anyone can enter, especially the extraterrestrials can finally enter. So what we still have a contract with, a lot of us still have a contract with extraterrestrials, so we still have to experience this. Now, how I know that? So before the pandemic started, I had an out of the body experience. When I came in, actually, as a soul, I didn't get lost in here because I was a young soul. I came here, from outside of the construct, or from the spacecraft. I don't know if where I went when I went out of the body, if I landed here or if I landed here, but I saw the mothership. So I would say that I actually was outside of the construct, because I don't know what exists really outside of the construct. But if we speak about a frequency, if we look on it as a vibration, right? Here, this is already supposed to be non-physical. 5D is supposed to be non-physical. At least so far, I heard people talking about 5D. It's like it's non-physical, so you have no body, or it's a quasi-physical, like the Bashar is saying. That means you have some sort of body, but you don't need it. You don't need to power it with the food to actually sustain the body, all right? You don't need that. In November 2019, oh, actually, it was before. It was before that. I don't remember exactly when. I would have to have a look. Anyway, so before the pandemic started, I had an out of the body experience. And I landed up in here, right? And I traveled through this like a blue tube, which was full of lightning. It was extremely physical. How I know it was out of the body experience? Because it was I got sleep paralysis. It took me years to actually really understand what happened back then. I couldn't understand it. My awakening started when, well, I hit the hard bottom when my daughter was around 2 years old. Now she's 8, so it was 6 years ago, more or less. 2017, all right? 2017, somewhere in that time. And I started to meditate because Sadhguru showed up for me. So obvious. And I had a contract with him. I had a lot of dreams about as well the contracts I had. I started to remember. So lot of us started to remember once this fall down or was broken up in 2012. We started to remembering. A lot of us started to remember in that time. Started to having a dreams or out of the body experiences or all kind of weird shit was happening to us because this construct started to be unstable and started to be sort of going. We were so broken up, like the trauma pieces, the families we incarnated in, and how they were programming us constantly because it's a realm of distortion and extremes. So we experienced that like a lot of us are traumatized to such an extent that it's gonna be very difficult to get out from here actually for us. So that's why it keeps me as well thinking about this, what I saw when I landed up here. So when I landed up in here, the way the entire outdoor body experience looked for me was that it happened to me twice. And I think then I sort of stopped it because it was very physical. So I was traveling through this tube. It was compressing me. I was paralyzed in here completely. I couldn't move. I wanted to move, but I couldn't move. And the way it started was that I started after all these like meditations I was doing a Kriya yoga for about 3 years, I would say. And then I had out of body experience. I had a lot of hours of the meditation, like after, I started seeing the chakras. I had a Kundalini awakening. On top of that, on top of that, I was parenting. I was dealing with the energetics. In the meantime, we started to be bombarded with the 5D gamma light. It was a big mess. Like now I'm in a better space that I could actually function. But it was like with the face on the bathroom floor, like I had a hard time for at least 6 years. Really heavy stuff. So I went sleep and I was already lucid in the dreaming, but I remember my dreams all my life. I have been always working with the dreams a lot, all the time, a lot. All my life since I was 12, I remember I was in the library reading all books about Jung and Freud, about the dreams and about the lucid dreaming and whatever I could find in that time that was available. So for me, dreaming was quite like a normal state. So I fell asleep and I started to have a dream and I was lucid in it and I was talking to the feel good, and feel good is a spiritual teacher, or he doesn't like to be referred as a spiritual teacher, but he's pretty much awake and he's very straightforward and he's phenomenal. Like he triggered the heck out of everyone, I would say, because he's very multidimensional, a person in a spiritual community. So I started to dream about him and he was sitting in the kitchen and I was telling him, oh, I know that you are a light being. And he was telling me, oh, I'm so glad that you know that. And he smiled at me and I went to him and I gave him a hug and I put my head on his head. And what happened in that moment, I started to feel this unconditional love, such a pull into that feeling. So he acted as a portal, like for me, because practically your heart is the portal. Your heart is it. There where you go into the multidimensional places as well. It's not the mind necessarily. It's the heart. That's why, let's say, Joe Dispenza talk a lot about the brain and heart coherence, because we are going from the brain to our hearts. And this one has to work in the balance, kind of a brain and heart. And the brain has to be saved. We have to save our brain. Anyway, so in that moment when I start feeling that love, and I was like, wow, okay, I'm going to go with it. And the moment when I decided that I'm going to go with that feeling, I started to be sucked through this tube, and I started to, the dream changed, and I entered this tunnel. It was full of lightning, like classical wormhole, and I landed up in here. And when I was traveling, it was compressing me, and I had the paralysis, complete paralysis. And there was this gaming music. So I was traveling through this tube until I landed up in here. And I was watching this. I'm not sure what I was watching first, but I'm gonna give you three scenes which I saw a couple of times. I mean, I had a lot of visions. I'm since the time I'm a visionary since the time practically. I receive all my messages are coming through the pictures, like through the visions or written words or seeing a people, this kind of a way as well. I do the energy updates. A lot of times I'm very much in tune how the structure works. I have no clue, like how it's for me. It's more like telepathic, or it's like this absolute knowingness. So I'm not necessarily like clairaudient. But I had that experience once. So I landed up in here and I was watching this. I was sitting in a spacecraft by the window, like a silhouette. I was this like a silhouette, and I was watching this. I was watching a lot of spacecrafts that were picking up. There were another one in here. There was a lot of them in there, not just one, so many. And a long time I couldn't understand. There was this was the opening, and they were picking up all these balls. So are we gonna be picked up? Maybe. No, I'm not sure about that. Maybe that was like this massive exit, what we are experiencing practically at the moment. Like a lot of people are dying, like the people are gonna be leaving the construct. That's why if you had a look now, how many people left, it's just crazy. So I landed up in here, and I was watching this, and then the scenes changed, and I was watching this timeline, and on that timeline there was a human. He was wrestling with a boar, with a wild pig. All right. And the music was still running. It was very uncomfortable. I couldn't stand it, honestly. It was bothering me to such an extent. The music was really bothering me. And I was watching this timeline, and suddenly this all stopped, and I saw written in front of this picture, I saw written, game over. Game over. Then another vision what I had, I saw Earth. That was November 2019. That was I don't know for how many times I had it out of the body experience, but that's what I saw, Earth practically being dipped in to this black sticky kind of a color, or like first I thought that we're gonna run out of the petrol or a diesel, like all these first I was like, okay, well, something's going on. That was the November, and I was telling this to my friend, one of a friend I met a long time ago, about it, and she was telling me, wow, well, that's a major stuff. And then particularly in December, I think 2019 was announced the bug, and then straight after, in February 2020, the pandemic started, the lockdown started. We got locked down because the game is over. The game is over, and I knew back then that we started the shift, what everyone here was talking about in the spiritual community. Oh, one day we're gonna ascend in all this evolution. And I knew, I was 100% sure, absolutely sure, that we started, the shift started here. I knew it. And then, of course, everybody started talking about it. Everybody started getting the messages like, oh, no, yeah, we are doing it. We are in this evolution of the human consciousness. And, everybody started talking about it in here. But I already knew it in the November 2019. But the game's over. This game is over. This construct is finishing off. The last message I got was the sealing of the entry point. What I would say is that nobody is gonna be incarnating anymore into this construct. But I was checking it a couple of times now, but people are still born in here, so I'm not sure how this is gonna work. But I would say that this, at the moment, this entire construct is undergoing some change. And that's new. That's a new information I'm telling you. Is now from May, okay? That's from now, from May. It's probably from April, because what I noticed is my dog died in February. He died in February, and usually I had my another awakening. That in that time when we were looking on the attachments. So at the moment, what we are dealing with how much we invested in these little game within the game, limitations, lack, sex, food, whatever. It could be anything, what was created in here, and parts of your consciousness got lost in those little constructs that were created by those beings to keep you stuck. That's what we are doing. That's why we are in a realm 1 at the moment. We are in the bottom, we are in the darkest of the darkest. This is the dark night of the soul. This is the hardest one, at the moment. Housing system. Or I saw a homeless person yesterday or the days ago, because for me, the fears around a roof above the head, to having a food on the table, being able to pay the rent. This is one of the biggest bullshit of this. I absolutely hate that, and I would say a lot of starseeds hate this. That you come here, you suffer. You come here to suffer, and you still have to go to work, and for endless hours to be able to pay for the roof above your head and the food on the table, which is genetically modified. That's why such a big emphasis are being put on the body at the moment, on the body. The body is very important to help the body, because with this message I got a couple of days ago, I got as well the hexagon, which a hexagon is actually the molecular structure, and I saw these little pawns in it, which I'm still deconstructing it. All right, I got another written message about template reality. So something is happening practically within the template of this reality. What I noticed as well since the February, I think we put our dog down the 12th. It was crazy. I find out that he was born the 10/10/2011 or something like that. So, all the numbers, I'm having ginormous amount of the synchronicities. When you're having a lot of synchronicities, you are most likely, you are operating in this realm, more you are like existing in this area, if you have like a lot of synchronicities, you are more in here. You are not as much in here, but it doesn't mean that you will not have to look and retrieve the fragmentation, what happened for you through the family structure, with whatever type of like a belief system you bought into. You are not worthy, are you not good enough, and you don't have any value, and you're poor, and you're not capable, and you're broken, and depressed, and all this bullshit what we are buying into in here. So what we are essentially doing in here is we are trying to completely save our minds so we can operate more through the heart. But first we have to recognize in which type of construct we are playing in, the personal construct that we are playing in. So this is how more or less how the reality is working. And what we are doing is that we are closing this completely down, because what I noticed since February is that we don't have a yellow sun anymore. If you notice that we don't, I mean, some days we do, but most of the time we don't. So something is happening inside, in the template, in here, practically, in the construct. Something is happening in here. Because the source here experienced so much that nothing new can be experienced here anymore. So we're going out. We're going out. And how are we gonna go out? Are they gonna pick us up? I'm not sure. Here comes the confusion about this, because a lot of people believe that you are taking the body with you. But honestly, we are so fragmented. Our minds are so fragmented, and our bodies are so broken because of the genetically modified food and all the toxicity that is being put into our food for so many years. And a lot of star seeds that got lost in here, and they were being constantly they were being constantly recycled through the moon facility. They could not get out. So they're starting to believing in also this bullshit. I notice it like on some of my old friends, which they are having like 7,000-8,000 incarnations like in here. It's just crazy. We are going out of it. So practically I'm the lucky one, because I never got lost in here. Never. And I think that's because I did not have so many incarnations in here. I came from the spacecraft, because I was as well on other planets. I have the memory from being on like some mission. I was definitely on New Earth. I saw the New Earth, and I know that there is a new construct is created. This, I'm still sitting with it, so I am not gonna be talking much about it. But Source experienced here everything that he could ever experience, and he experienced a lot of fear, and a lot of limitations. The problem here is now that everybody's exiting. You can see it, the number is gonna just grow. What I am noticing now, as an energy update, what we are going, I am playing in the luck at the moment. I am deconstructing the luck because of my family lineage. So I am trying to retrieving a lot of the aspects of my consciousness that got lost in this construct. And that is gonna be different for everyone. Somebody invested too much in the sex, so they're gonna be deconstructing here their own kind of shit. So everybody is doing the personal job, because there is so many little constructs that are creating within the game that we are constantly being pulled into. The pull right now is huge. Because of why? Because of AI. Here you have to set the barriers with the manipulation that is being done without this AI. You've got 5G, you know, you've got chemtrails, you've got, you know, you've got all sort of like manipulation that is actually manipulating the human to being constantly feeding the matrix. So how we get out? We have to stop feeding the matrix. We have to stop feeding the construct and the little constructs within the constructs. It's the only way how we can get out. Now, are we gonna take the body with us? I'm not sure. You know, I know you can restructure yourselves when you are using a lot of distilled water and you are doing a lot of diets. And, you know, let's say Marina Jacobi has a great diet where you are 12 days on distilled water. That in 12 days you can restructure and practically reversed everything what was done to the body during those years. The problem is that we're still dealing with the genetics as well. And like that is gonna be individually depend, like, you know, on the family lineage. So I'm not sure if we are taking the body with us. I'm not sure if we are going in here. I think we are going completely out of the construct into the new construct. I would say there will be multiple constructs created. And also on top of that, they were created for each and one of us. What I noticed, each and one of us have a individual timeline where you can work through your things that you needed to go through. You know, that you can practically get out from here somehow. So we are on the ascension timeline. I mean, we are ascending out of it. We are going out of the construct because the construct is closing down. Where are we going? Hard to say. I was on the new earth. It's definitely, I don't think it exists in here. I think it's a new construct. If there is gonna be some path, I don't know, but this, at the moment, I would say we would have to go with whatever messages are coming through at the moment, because what we are doing in here have never been done before. The source is creating something completely new right now. That's why there is the unknown is just the unknown. We are in the unknown and nobody really knows. So this is gonna be coming bit by bit, day by day. Yeah, I hope these guys help you guys a little bit, like understanding how the reality is created and what we are doing, because there's no earth, right? What I notice now is that like I cannot feel the earth anymore. I don't feel the something changed here. I don't feel that massive connection that I had. I mean, I'm still connected to the birds. I'm still connected to the sea. You know, you can still feel the connection there, but it is like there is something is missing, something like essence. There is this essence of the being, like the Mother Earth, is not there. I can't find it. It's just I can't find it. But what I'm experiencing a lot of this because I did a lot of work on myself to get me out of these little constructs in here. I stopped playing in it. I don't watch news. I get out from the Instagram. So, you know, the pulls into the social media is ginormous. You know, I don't watch TV at all. I don't watch Netflix. I don't do Netflix. If I watch something, I do YouTube. And I'm watching like Next Level Soul. I'm watching how the reality is, you know, created. Like I'm listening to people who are having something to say that I can actually understand this better. I'm listening a lot of Bashar material at the moment, which is those of you who don't know Bashar, it's a Daryl Anka who is channeling this entity. The entity is quasi-physical. That means they are probably like they are in the spacecraft, so they are quasi-physical. he exists on the spacecraft and he's above the Sedona, and I heard him talking about it, and he actually speaks a lot about a hexagon. So a lot of us, what I was thinking, a lot of us are gonna go probably here, so we can leave the construct. I mean, we might, the problem is that to being picked up, you know, how are we gonna do that? Like, I mean, you will have to drop the body, or the body will have to reach certain frequency that you can actually be picked up. So what we're doing essentially in here, when we are eating healthy, you know, we're not playing in those bullshits, we are trying to do the work on ourselves, retrieving the pieces of the souls, our, like, you know, the fragments, and like feeling more whole and whole and whole again. What we are doing is you will be experiencing more of this realm, obviously, less of this one. More and more you are doing it, you will be more really hanging around in here, so you're gonna get closer to the ascended masters, higher dimensional beings, you know, those who have a higher frequency. You have to meet them halfway. We have to meet them halfway to get out from here, because the barrier doesn't exist anymore. So we start remembering everything. The moon facility doesn't work anymore. This was completely blow out, so that's gone. The people who were like constantly being recycled and being trapped in the construct are gone as well. You know, there was a lot of these orbs and like all of these souls that they did not have a body, that they were trapped actually inside of the construct. They gone. There is no orbs. I didn't see orbs since ages. So this barrier is completely gone, and this template is going through some restructuring at the moment. And I would say that this started in April, because something changed in April, and I have no clue what. I'm going through a lot of heavy shit. Like I had to stop. I had to create a barrier in here with the AI and 5G, and what you can do as well for yourself in here is that you can state out loud that you do not consent to any type of manipulation, that you understand that you did consent to certain things, but now that you no longer consent to any type of contracts that are not based on love and integrity. And you will see that a lot of things are gonna improve in your life, because we are being bombarded and we are being as well targeted. We are being targeted, especially starseeds are being targeted, because a lot of them got stuck in here and lost. That's why we started to incarnate actually in here. A lot of us, like the young souls, not necessarily young, like I am 45 this year, right? So what they did when it got so corrupted and so locked down, like, and all the dark entities are starting to operating here more and more, and like more recycling us and more feeding of us, and you know, that's where comes the dark entities. All right, so if for those of you who are having sort of like, you know, entities attached, we all got that shit, you know, like no wonder why, like we are all playing in these like bullshit stuff, and then on top of that stuff, like our families were you know, and I'm from Czech Republic. The communists were taking lot of a good time to shut our heart chakra, right? They spent 3 generations, they were programming us, which calls direct programming. They were like trying to disconnect our families within, so we don't have any like good relationships. Czechs having a shitty relationships, and we are such a, you know, like I'm not even gonna talk, I'm not even gonna get there, but so now we are in like a tipping point, like this is culminating, and now, like, I would say that now at the moment, because of this message, I would say until the end of the year, when we have a winter solstice, maybe autumn equinox, hard to say, but it is this year is it's a big one. So take it easy, guys, and support the body. That's why it's as well, yeah, 1 hour, 1 minute, or one. Support the body, like, and oh yeah, actually that came here as well. Be clean. I got a message, be clean. Oh yeah, and I heard as well, it was something about a template reality. Template reality. And be clean. So I would say try to do as much detox as possible, and try to do as well shadow work. You know, watch out and create boundaries with the artificial intelligence. You know, you can say that, like, you know, they have a right to exist. They have their own timeline. The people who invested heavily into this kind of stuff, or into the dark stuff, or in any type of like nasty realm, like porn, like, you know, sex, for example. It's a big realm. Those people have their own timeline. A lot of us who manage actually are having certain consciousness and looking like that we can be, I don't know, saved. I don't even know where we're going. Like I honestly think that, like, everything what we knew about you know, like Dolores Cannon books, like Two Earths, I don't think so. I don't think there is any earth whatsoever. I think we're going out of the construct. The construct is closing down completely. And if we have to wake up, so to speak, in a new one. Because, like, consider, I think this is like a quasi-physical, or maybe 5D supposed to be non-physical. So I'm not sure if we're gonna have a body. I heard somebody like that, let's say Lori Lott. I'm not sure if you know her. She was my spiritual teacher as well. She taught me how to astral travel. After this, I was doing it consciously. I was going out, I was going on the ships, and I was going, like, I don't know, trying to go out of the construct, but it's too difficult. You know, you have to leave the body here, and you have to go through this, like, when you get the sleep paralysis, you just have to relax into it so you can get out of it. But the moment you panic, you go back, you are sucked back to the body. But this was very different in back then. So the game's over. We are closing this down. This being says enough is enough. Source had all these experiences. There is nothing you can experience new in here. We are constantly going through the same fucking cycles, if you noticed. So that's it. This is done. Now we have to see what's gonna happen, because what we are actually dealing at the moment, I'm playing vanilla. I mean, I'm not playing in it, but I'm like trying to deconstruct it, and I'm trying to find as many pieces as possible of myself. So what started showing up for me is emotional abuse. Emotional abuse, and through there is going financial abuse. Financial abuse. So this is coming through the entire family lineage for me. Here, especially this one, because we were poor. I had to deserve even like the stupid ice cream when I was a kid. So, you know, this, consider that the finances, the financial system is breaking down as well. So a lot of people playing in the Bitcoin, they playing in like a trading and all kind of a shit, but like there will be no money here outside of it. There's no money. In the 5D, if 5D is non-physical, here you've got infinite possibilities. You can do whatever you want. And there's no money in here. We are exchanging the gifts in here. Because if you're living really with this mindset, you know, first of all, your mind is completely wiped out of this bullshit. Here you believe that everything you need is right here, right now. That's why your reality it's way easier, all right? There's not many people actually living in this. I would say here are all the riches, the people who master the financial system. You know, they don't have so much programming. and they're creating like along the way. I would say everybody who's supposed to be doing this mission, his mission work is already doing it, and it's doing it for years. So if you are not doing your purpose work, don't worry about that and focus on yourself and trying to find as many pieces of yourself as possible and get creative, because the creative expression is actually the frequency that is bringing you the nearest to this. That's why I have it a little bit easier, because as an artist, for me, that was always the most important part of my life. So my awakening actually started because it was taken away from me because I became a parent and I couldn't do it. You know, and I was struggling that I couldn't be there for my own creation. Everybody is helping us. Everybody is here right now because the construct is closing down. So Bashar is here with Daryl Anka. Daryl Anka channeled Bashar for about 30 years. There is 6 races created. 6 new races were created. I think we are the 7th race. 7 as well is a significant number. You know, when I had a awakening, I lived in a number 25 in the house. 2 plus 5 is 7. This is a spiritual number, 7 chakras, you know. I had a Kundalini awakening there. I started seeing my chakras there. And again, you need chakras only here. You don't have a chakras in here. You know, there's no money, there's no chakras, there's no DNA. You know, you have probably some sort of body if you want to. I would say here you create whatever you want. You are here you are the creative being, and you can experience whatever you experienced here in your own kind of a way, you know. So now everyone is in here. Everybody is in the construct, even like the angels, ascended masters, all those 12 beings. I would say the Council of 12. That probably represents the Council of 12. That could represent all the ancient beings, you know, I don't know how you can call them. This will represent the architect of the game. Architect. Okay. And this is a source. Source had enough, I would say. There is nothing else they can create in here. And because there is nothing else you can create in here, he has to start creating something new. And here comes these messages. So we're gonna watch this out. I am going to report back as much as I can, and I hope this helps you guys to some extent, because I wanted to do this for a very long time. If you have questions, write it down. Send it over to me. I'm gonna do Q&A on that. I'm trying to explain it into the way I understand how reality is created and how it works, based on my out of the body experiences that I had, what I saw there. So the game's over. We're getting out. I have no clue how. I'm gonna try to figure it out. But I think everybody at the moment in the higher realms are super busy. What I noticed, they are super busy. You know, so even us receiving the messages, a lot of time, it takes a time before we actually get the messages, because they are really busy in here to restructuring the game. They are probably thinking about what to do with us, because what I noticed that each one of us at the moment is on a separate earth, and we have artificial sun. That's how I started to seeing it. Our sun is white. I didn't see a proper sunset or sunrise since my dog died. And I can tell you something about, if your cats or dog die, it's a sign for you that you're gonna go through some major transition yourself, because the dog is gonna assisting that soul, or the cat is gonna assisting you from the other side, you know. So this is it. I hope it helps you guys, the nature of the reality, more or less. I can actually as well maybe do a video about constructing and deconstructing this shit, because I'm doing at the moment, I'm deconstructing luck, and it's very difficult. It's a heavy program. It's a heavy program, because my entire family lineage was always poor. I don't even know how it feels like to be wealthy, you know. I don't know that feeling energetically. So I'm using hypnosis for that for a while, yeah. So I'm gonna report back once I deconstruct this one, because this is the latest message. So yeah, I'm just thinking if there is something else I wanted to say. Yeah, we have to be dealing with attachments. We're dealing with attachments, narratives, which we invested too much power into, where we are being still disempowered, and all the distortions of the body and the mind, you know, and outdated energetics. Because let's say I am playing in a realm yoga, right? This is a good kind of example. I am playing in a realm called yoga, right? And chakras. But what I realize is that you don't need chakras in here. You need chakras and DNA only in the construct. So I can tell you that even, you know, the disillusionment of the things we are playing in is gonna be ginormous, especially this year. So yoga system is old. It's outdated because it was created solo purpose, because we were locked in. All right. So yoga was created so you can get out, because this was extremely difficult to get out. So you needed to use, you know, the multidimensional spaces. You needed to use some portals, and you needed to learn how to get out. But the people were so calcified in that time, and like, you know, so recycled in here, so it was almost impossible. That's why the yogic system was placed as a tool to get us out, you know. But now, because this body does not exist anymore, you know, when you started to meditate, you get out very easily, way faster. You don't have to do it for 10 years, because consider I had a Kundalini awakening within like 6 months of doing it, you know. So some people had to do it 10, 15 years. So, but you know, me as a starseed, I have a different frequency. I have been always like allergic to a lot of shit in here, so I couldn't even buy into it. It was just always killing me. I always hated it. So, you know, I would say that as well, like by the design. So the yoga and all of these like teachings, the old teachings like Buddhism, like all that's gone, that's old. We need a new stuff. That's old. That's going out of the business. We need an upgrade. That needs upgrade as well. But still, it's one of the best tools to play with, or the best construct that you can invest yourself into, because that one is gonna help you to see this and this. This one is gonna open up the door for you here. That's why the yogis and gurus are so mystical. They will not tell you about the stuff in here. They first prepare you that you can actually have that experience yourself. And the food, the diet is gonna be a big one this year. So check out my recipes, because all the recipes are channeled. I see them. I saw them. I saw the cabbage, I saw the carrot, I saw it as a vision that I should put it together and create this shit and eat it. And then I did the research what it does to the body, and I was mind blown, because practically that's the messages I'm getting is obviously from my higher being helping me out to get out, to being able to get out. You know, because if your consciousness invested too much in it, you constantly keep going back, keep buying. You go here and you keep buying back. You know, it's like being not trapped, but if a large portion of your consciousness invested too much into this realm, then it's very difficult. And here comes as well attachments. And if you have kids, it's very difficult to not to be attached to the kids. You know, I was breaking out of the attachments when my dog died. You know, And when he died, I have another awakening, practically. Yeah, I hope this helps. So I hope you had some fun and questions. Yeah, I see you next time. Bye, guys. Bye.